While you may not have known about it, space tourism has existed for over 2 decades. This started with the 10 commercial space flights Russia launched with the Soyuz spacecraft before the program was cancelled. However, commercial space flights have been on the minds of everyone since Yuri Gagarin became the first man to go to space. You might recall a boom in commercial space flights last year, where the three biggest companies in the space tourism industry all launched space tourism missions. The three participants in this modern space race, SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic, all have one common goal: to make space travel as normal as a trip to another country. Space tourist flights, also known as commercial space flights, are quite expensive at the moment, which is something that's holding them back from being normalized. At the moment, only billionaires can afford them. However, this soon might change.
It gives people a chance to see what we just saw.
That was Jeff Bezos, CEO of Blue Origin, in his first interview on Earth after coming back from the edge of space.
This fragile, beautiful Earth that you can't imagine. People can tell you about it, but until you see it with your own eyes, I don't know, maybe we need to send a poet up or something. Somebody who could...
What he just said will make sense later. Even if space tourism becomes an ordinary thing, many people are still sure to avoid it. This is mainly because of the environmental impact it will cause. Take the Industrial Revolution as an example or analogy. When the Industrial Revolution kicked off, the increase of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere was overlooked due to the fact that it was in such a small quantity. Over time, however, this small amount of emissions grew and grew until the greenhouse effect was enhanced enough to drastically affect the temperature and climate. Today, global temperatures are about 1.7 degrees higher than before the Industrial Revolution. People are worried the same will happen with space tourism. The production of a space shuttle, along with the rubber and fuel burnt by its engines, will contribute to the enhanced greenhouse effect. Making space tourism just as common as boarding a flight will contribute to global warming the same way air transit does, which is setting these companies back. A lack of eco-friendly space travel. At the moment, all these companies have are green energy sources, and they aren't even that commonly used. Launching a space shuttle will also produce soot and air pollution, adding on to the collective environmental impact of commercial space flights. Over 58% of Americans said that they would not go on a trip to space. So what's with all the hype? Why are billionaires and celebrities such as Justin Bieber, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Tom Cruise all going to space just to be up in the cosmos for a few seconds? The simple answer is for the same reason people go on expensive cruises and vacations: a rush of dopamine and the feeling of wealth. Alongside this, they are simply going for their curiosity of what space is like. You've already heard Bezos' opinion on this.
This fragile, beautiful Earth that you can't imagine. People can tell you about it, but until you see it with your own eyes.
Don't get me wrong, opportunities can be created out of space tourism as well. For example, if space tourism becomes affordable, workshops, classes, and other education forums can be created to teach people about space in space. With more people in space, government agencies would also be able to study the effects of space on more age, sex, and ethnicity groups. However, this is a double-edged knife. While scientists will have the opportunity to get more research on how the brain acts in space, as well as how our bodies react to gravity-less environments, this will make space tourism a way to sign yourself up as a test subject. Space tourism becoming ordinary would also mean that space travel in general will have to become cheaper and require little to no training. This could bring benefits for actual important space missions from NASA, for example. Ignoring the fact that commercial space flights release soot and air pollution into the atmosphere, which I mentioned earlier, as well as the fact that cheaper space technology might be more likely to malfunction. What it implies is also a major con to the general public.
Think about the future. It's just, if we're out there exploring stars, it's so much more exciting and inspiring. Yeah, so in order to make Mars work, we need kind of the next generation of rockets and spacecraft. And we think we've got something that will enable people to move to Mars.
You just heard CEO of SpaceX, Elon Musk, talking about terraforming Mars. SpaceX is also one of the companies currently fighting in the modern space race. From this information, it is inferable and evident that space tourism also encourages terraforming other planets. This would definitely cause less people to go on commercial space flights, as it's better to save our current planet than rely on planet B. When space tourism will become normal will never be a certainty, but we know that it won't be far from now due to advances being made in the industry and in technology. So to answer my question, commercial spaceflights will most likely become ordinary in this decade, but it will take much longer for people to adapt to it. Until then, they'll just be a lavish activity for billionaires. To end this episode off, I will be leaving you with a question. Do you think it's right to monetize space?